Paddy Pimblett taking on Ilia Topuria. These two have been going back and forth at each other for a long time. They absolutely hate one another. They've been going back and forth, talking, throwing bottles of water at one another, okay? Calling each other names. They even stood in the middle of a UFC octagon after Ilia Topuria knocked out Charles Oliveira. Paddy Pimblett got in the cage. They squared up. But the fight never happened.
Ilia, you quit on the stool, you little Whitney Houston. That's what you are, you little box. Real fighter right here. Eye gouged twice, kicked in the balls, kept swinging to the final bell. I didn't quit like a bitch on the stool. I'll kick him up and down the octagon, and I'll either knock him out or submit him. Like that fight's there down the line. No, 100%. That fight's got to happen. That's a fight that you can have as a pay-per-view main event.
Paddy Pimblett vows to do to Ilia what Gaethje just did. The Scouser promises to finish and then hand Topuria the same beating, reigniting their bitter feud.
But we always knew he was a good fighter, know what I mean? Like, that's something what pisses me off about him. Even though I hate him and I think he's a bellend, like, I wouldn't lie and say he's a fighter, because he's not. But that's what he says about me. And it made me laugh when he said, what did he say? He called me fat. That's like, lad, you can't make your weight division anymore that you are champion of, and you're trying to call me fat. He's a midget, lad. He's tiny. He's smaller than Michael Chandler. You'll see what I do to Michael Chandler next Saturday night when I dismantle him, and it'll be a very similar game plan to beat Ilia. He's small, he walks forward, swinging shots.
On that front, the rivalry between Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett has grown into one of the most heated feuds in the sport. Every time they cross paths, whether in interviews, on social media, or face-to-face, there's an exchange of sharp jabs and genuine hostility that makes it clear this isn't just for show, it's personal. On that note, Paddy Pimblett reacts to Gaethje's title win, calling it fate and giving him full respect for a career that earned it. But he doesn't hold back on Topuria, pointing out that he went 5 rounds with Gaethje and kept walking forward, while Topuria quit on his stool after 4.
Ultimate spoiler, lad. You ruined Tony versus Khabib. You ruined me versus Ilia. You gang of gobshite. I went 5 with him. I took every fucking shot that he threw at me and kept walking forward. This little has just quit after 4 rounds. That's what this little has just done. Look at him, sat on his stool. I kept fucking walking forward at Gaethje for 5 rounds and didn't have an ounce of quit in me, because I'm a proper fighter. Lad, get Twitter up. Quote tweet that tweet now. So I called it, didn't I? I said to the 2 underdogs in the title fight to get the wins. Justin Gaethje, hats off to you, lad. I did say.
Coming back to Ilia Topuria, he's made it clear that fighting Paddy Pimblett is a personal priority. While he has acknowledged Pimblett as an entertaining fighter and shown respect for his understanding of family and personal issues, Topuria has emphasized that this won't lessen the intensity of their potential bout.
That's the fight that I want. With Charles, I had a little bit difficult situation because I really like the guy. But with Paddy, I'm really gonna enjoy kicking him.
Shifting his attention to what comes next for Topuria, Michael Bisping points to Paddy Pimblett's upcoming clash with Benoit Saint-Denis as a genuinely tricky matchup for both men, noting that their styles tend to cancel each other out, with Pimblett's flashy and unorthodox jiu-jitsu and odd striking timing facing off against a Saint-Denis who is equally dangerous on the ground and on the feet.
But if he's going to fight again, who's it going to be? Well, we know that in a few weeks' time, Paddy Pimblett is taking on Benoit Saint-Denis, and that is a tough matchup for both guys, okay? They both got styles that kind of diminish one another. Paddy on the ground might have a flashy jiu-jitsu style, but Benoit Saint-Denis is also very good on the ground. On the feet, the pair of them can bang as well. We saw against Justin Gaethje, Paddy Pimblett has got weird timing, okay, and unorthodox angles when he throws his strikes, but he lit up Justin Gaethje, And I think that's why everyone thought that Ilia was going to go right through him.
Building on that tension, Bisping makes the case for why a Pimblett versus Topuria fight practically books itself, pointing to the genuine history between the two, the heated face-offs, and stories of near altercations away from any cameras that few people even know about. For Bisping, when that level of real beef collides with two fighters of this profile, it lines up perfectly for a blockbuster matchup.
He is just this. Anytime there's two fighters like this, with such high profiles like Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria, and there's that much tension, that much beef, that much drama, that much old school footage that they can use, not only squaring up inside the octagon, but at UFC London when they were talking shit and had to be separated by security. I heard stories of them almost getting into fights in the hallways and stuff like that, but there was no cameras rolling. Of course, there was a few water bottles thrown and stuff like that. There's always been heat and friction between the two of them, and now it's lining up absolutely perfectly for a blockbuster matchup.
Bisping makes the case that this matchup makes sense regardless of outcome, pointing out that whether Paddy wins or loses his next fight, both scenarios still set up a logical path toward Topuria, especially with the genuine hatred and history between the two men adding real weight to the drama. He then shifts into just how stacked the upcoming card looks overall, running through several of the other matchups before throwing the question back to the audience on how he sees it all playing out.
If he was to lose to Benoit Saint-Denis, Ilia Topuria just lost to Justin Gaethje, so they're both coming off losses. And if he wins against Benoit Saint-Denis, well, Ilia Topuria is the former undisputed lightweight champion of the world, so it's still a good, logical matchup. And these two absolutely hate one another. There'll be a lot of drama in the build-up to the fight, and I, for one, want to see it settled once and for all.
Meanwhile, Chael Sonnen draws a clear line on what should actually end a fight, arguing the stoppage point isn't about damage taken or crowd excitement, but the exact moment a fighter can no longer realistically win. He pinpoints that moment precisely, identifying Topuria's final double leg takedown attempt as the true turning point, a desperate last effort to change the fight that Gaethje read, defended, and countered completely.
Be misunderstanding. What ended that fight, what brought that fight to conclusion was the final double leg takedown attempt by Ilia. The final attempt where idiots call it a leg dive. When he went for the leg dive, the double leg takedown, and almost got it, and Gaethje's hips turned, and then Gaethje turned his hips back over, squared up, and stopped that effort. That is the moment when we're all done. There was mentally and physically, that was the final effort.
Expanding on that, Chael Sonnen pointed out that Ilia Topuria did try to win the fight in the final seconds of the 4th round. After Gaethje dropped him with a massive right hand and swarmed for the finish, Topuria somehow survived, got back to his feet, and actually secured a takedown to get on top before the bell sounded. To Chael, that last-minute scramble showed that Topuria was still fighting with everything he had, even though his corner would ultimately wave it off between rounds. It wasn't a quit, Chael argued. It was a fighter emptied by exhaustion, but still clawing for a way back
to the corners, and Mark got to stop the fight. But administratively, there was a number of things that were very interesting. I mean, we're learning on the surreal gone Alex Pierre, but we're not only learning about the call of what is the back of the head, we're learning who has jurisdiction. And I will predict for you that the Alex Pierre, and as mad as he is today, he's not going to calm down in a few days. Alex Pierre is going to be hot about this, and he believes that he was fouled.
Adding to that, Paddy breaks down the real turning point of the fight, not the swollen eyes or body shots, but the exhaustion that sets in after a key double leg takedown. He notes that the fight was stopped administratively. He raises questions about jurisdiction and appeals, predicting that Alex Pereira won't calm down anytime soon and may face a complicated process if he tries to challenge the outcome.
Ilia Topuria was expected to go right through Justin Gaethje. He was a 6-1 favorite going into that fight, and we all know what happened. Justin Gaethje put on a performance of a lifetime and is now the undisputed champion. And by the way, Justin Gaethje has all the belts at lightweight. He's a 2-time interim title holder, he's a BMF title holder, he's the undisputed champion, and he's also the Freedom 250 lightweight championship holder. He has got every single belt there's ever been in the UFC.
Turning to Paddy's reaction, he fires back at Ilia, pointing out that his own face was worse than Topuria's despite going 5 rounds with Gaethje and walking forward the whole time. He congratulates Gaethje on becoming undisputed champion, calling it fate and saying he deserves it after his career. Then he makes his intentions clear. He'll finish BSD and wants a rematch with Gaethje for the belt.
I want that rematch. I am going to finish BSD and I want that rematch with Justin Gaethje for the undisputed title. I told you, didn't I? It was fate. Justin Gaethje, man, that's off to you. You deserve it for the fucking heavy career you've had. You absolutely deserve it, lad. Everyone gave me shit for getting beat by him. What now? What now, lad? Thought he was finished, thought he was 38, thought he was over the hill, and then he just beat you. Greatest fighter of all time, Ilia Topuria.
Meanwhile, Joe Rogan and Chase Hughes broke down the shocking upset at UFC Freedom 250, where 37-year-old veteran Justin Gaethje defeated the previously undefeated Ilia Topuria to claim the undisputed lightweight title. Despite entering the fight as a significant underdog against a fighter Rogan described as the most skilled of the new generation, Gaethje's durability and relentless pressure turned the tide after Topuria emptied his tank in a dominant second round.
Main event was the greatest fight of all time. It literally was the greatest fight of all time, because the guy that won it, Justin Gaethje, was in many books 6-1 favorite, or 6-1 underdog rather, which is crazy odds for a guy that was a interim lightweight champion, fought the best of the best, one of the best to ever do it, BMF champion. I mean, just super durable, real dangerous guy. And that's how good Ilia Topuria is. That's how good Ilia Topuria is. Ilia Topuria, in many people's eyes, is the most skilled of the new generation, and the new generation is the most skilled of all time.
According to Rogan and Hughes, the fight followed a dramatic arc. Topuria came out strong and nearly finished Gaethje in the second round, but the veteran's legendary durability allowed him to weather the storm. From there, the momentum shifted as Gaethje rallied in the third and fourth rounds, battering the fading champion with heavy punches and body shots that turned the tide and set up the stunning finish.
For a while, and he almost took Justin out in the second round, and then Justin rallied, and then Ilia, it looked like he got really damaged in either the first or the second round, and he was having real trouble seeing out of one of his eyes, and then Justin started landing bombs in the third round. Ilia had slowed down quite a bit. It looked like he had really tried to finish Justin in the second, and sometimes when you try to finish a guy, you just hit the gas way too much and you can't recover in between rounds. And Justin recovered. By
the end of the fourth round, Topuria was in serious trouble with both eyes badly swollen with fractures in both orbital bones, leaving him barely able to see. The ringside doctor checked him after the third and was ready to stop it, but Topuria talked his way into continuing. He got through the fourth, but with his vision shot and damage mounting, his corner made the call to wave it off before the fifth, a tough but necessary decision to protect their fighter.
End of the fourth round, Ilia quit on his stool. He couldn't see out of either eye. He had gotten kneed into the body real bad when he was on the ground. Justin had him down with his two hands and just smashed a knee into his rib cage, and you could see him go like that. And that was the end of the round. And then he had to retire on his stool. And you think
he broke a rib?
That probably could have happened, but I think maybe more significantly was the eye damage. Both of his eyes were swollen shut. His nose was fucked up. He'd taken so many punches to the face, and it looked like perhaps orbital damage, like maybe he had a fractured orbital, because his whole thing had just swollen up on both sides. He was unrecognizable.
Looking ahead at what's next for the newly crowned champion, the conversation quickly turned to Justin Gaethje's first title defense, and one name kept rising to the top. Arman Tsarukyan emerged as the clear frontrunner, with the panel agreeing he's the most deserving and logical challenger for the belt. There was some brief buzz around the possibility of a blockbuster showdown with Conor McGregor, and while everyone acknowledged the massive pay-per-view numbers that fight would generate, the consensus was clear. Tsarukyan is the fight that makes sense for the division. McGregor might be the bigger name, but Tsarukyan is the bigger threat, and right now, that's what matters most.
If he can win the fight against Holloway, and he's a big underdog, if he can win that fight, let's not pretend that the UFC wouldn't move everything to make Gaethje v McGregor for his last.
I don't think they would.
The only problem is it's his last fight.
It's his
Unless
last
they
fight.
sign him. Here's Conor saying afterwards, Holloway flatlined Justin face down out cold. It is a glorious time to be in the McGregor fight business. I think he's implying though, this guy beat that guy, I beat this guy.
Yeah.
But they ain't giving him a title shot on the last fight of his deal. Unless he resigns, then it's different. Gaethje versus McGregor would be a nuts fight, but no, it's going to be Arman. It
I
has
think
to
he
be.
wants to test free agency, though. I think that's the problem there.
Shifting to the other side of the cage, MMA analyst Luke Thomas didn't hold back in his critique of Ilia Topuria's performance. He argued that the once undefeated champion fought with overconfidence and arrogance, walking into Gaethje's range without the caution that a fighter of his caliber should have shown. According to Thomas, Topuria failed to respect Gaethje's durability and veteran savvy, and his game plan lacked the discipline needed to handle a pressure fighter of that level, a costly mistake that ultimately cost him his perfect record.
To me, he looked way too cocky. You just cannot play that game with Justin Gaethje. I mean, yeah, Max knocked him out. That's great. Ilia didn't. You know, isn't that wild? Ilia didn't. He fought so recklessly and so arrogantly that he was just letting Gaethje do damage on him, thinking he was just going to get him out of there early. And I thought he would get it in the first. I thought he'd get in the second, and then he dropped him. I'm like, oh, all right, well, here's the fight. Nope. He hung on, but more damage accumulated. And then by round 3, he had Topuria single digits. He just sat there and got pummeled with the jab of Gaethje.
For Topuria, the defeat is more than just a blemish on his record. It's a moment that raises serious questions about his ability to adjust and evolve against elite competition. The panel pointed out that an undefeated aura, once shattered, can take time to rebuild, and Topuria may find himself further from a title shot than he's ever been. For Gaethje, however, this victory is the crown jewel of a storied career. It wasn't just a title win, it was a statement of resilience, a reminder that grit and fundamentals can still reign supreme in an era of flashy finishes. His legacy is now etched in stone, and his place among the lightweight greats is secure.
Now, they might still keep him in the top 15. His ranking should collapse after this. I'm not saying that the ultimate stock or how you view him has to do that, but his ranking should suffer. If it's one thing for a pound for pound guy to lose to another pound for pound guy, okay, that happens, right? That's not this. And I'm not saying that, oh, Justin isn't on par with him. Hello, he just beat a number 2 pound for pound guy, and now his stock should rise. But I'm saying if you meet at a moment in time where there's that kind of disparity, and then you lose like it's the roles were reversed, your stock should suffer. And I'll be the first to admit it. He fought arrogantly, and he fucked his whole shit up in the process of doing this. He got checked.
So that wraps up today's breakdown of Ilia Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett. No matter where you stand on this fight, there's no denying that it's one of the biggest and most personal matchups the UFC can make right now. On one side, you have Ilia Topuria, a dominant champion who has looked nearly unstoppable against elite competition. On the other hand, Paddy Pimblett, one of the most popular and controversial stars in the sport, is looking to prove that he belongs among the very best in the world. The build-up, the rivalry, and the stakes make this a must-watch fight for every MMA fan. But now I want to hear from you. Who do you think wins this fight? Does Ilia Topuria continue his reign with another dominant performance, or can Paddy Pimblett shock the MMA world and pull off the biggest victory of his career? And how do you see it ending, by knockout, submission, or decision? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss future UFC news, fight breakdowns, predictions, and updates. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.